His story is one that should, and I believe will, continue to inspire us as we move into the future.
We will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
With Dr. King's vision, my family has hope and has the capability to accomplish anything and everything.
Martin Luther King Jr. has made a huge impact on lots of people's lives today, from the jobs to voting to drinking water from a fountain.
This note was the promise that all men, yes, black men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
I say unto you, love your enemy, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you.
For me personally, it is easy to respect a man who understood the importance of nonviolence and also cooperation between the races in the quest for equality. The world I was born into in the early 1980s was already very different from the world into which my parents were born. Not only did Dr. King make great strides in gaining equal rights for the African American citizens, he also helped restore humanity to America's white citizens by removing them from the role of the oppressor. Dr. King has helped create a society in which racism and discrimination is far less acceptable than it was, even when I was born. I think this is certainly a result of Dr. King's teachings and work. There is no question that America still has a long way to go down the road to total racial equality. By no means have we arrived. However, it takes generations to change the ideology of a nation. I really believe that as new generations are raised with the ideals preached by Dr. King, and children grow up seeing him as someone to emulate and revere, our nation will continue the march towards equality. His story is one that should, and I believe will, continue to inspire us as we move into the future. As the legacy of Dr. King lives on, long after his death, should I have children one day, I believe they will live in a better America than the one in which we live today. Dr. King may be dead in body, but in spirit, the spirit of his convictions continues to live in the lives and hearts of those who value him and his work.
I'm a Mexican American born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. For many years, Mexican Americans were treated just unfairly as African Americans were. Our education was different, we didn't have the right to vote, our equal opportunities were unheard of, but all of that has changed. Many people have stood up and actually made different changes in the world. My father was one of them, making the decision to come to the United States at a very young age. It wasn't easy for him, mainly because of the language barrier that he had, but interacting with the people in the States has helped him become better at speaking. Years have passed and he was still an illegal immigrant, working hard until an amazing opportunity crossed his path. In 1986, the United States decided to grant citizenships to Hispanics living in the U.S., and my father was one of the lucky ones to obtain that privilege. Growing up, I never understood my father's struggle, but now that I'm a young adult, I see the better picture. Being a Mexican American in this country today makes me appreciate and actually feel the struggle that my father went through. What the future has in store for us, we don't know. But we're actually going to be ready for it, knowing that more opportunities are coming and they're opening up for us, and the only thing that we can do is take them. The only thing that can stop us is ourselves. Challenges in life can break us. We are human and we're not perfect, but they can't kill us. They can only make us stronger.
Both of my parents are educators, and they continue to teach me the value of education, hard work, and dedication. My dad is old enough to remember when his school was first segregated. He was in the 2nd grade. He said he remembers how angry the people were back then and how people said that he would never amount to anything because of the color of his skin. My father told me that this drove him to be successful. Luckily, I never had to experience any of these things because of the people before me. I have lots of friends, black, white, and Hispanic. They all mean the same to me on the inside. I am thankful for the diversity in this country because of how much you may learn about another person based on where they come from or how they were raised. Culture and family are two very important things to me, and I am thankful to be able to share my culture and my family with others. One way that Martin Luther King Jr. has impacted my life is by providing African Americans with equal opportunity. Without his efforts, I would not be able to attend a four-year university and play football. Martin Luther King Jr. has made a huge impact on lots of people's lives today. Sports are how I express myself. Some of my best friends and biggest life lessons have come from playing a sport. Because of the people that made sacrifices back in the 60s, I am able to play on a national stage and will be judged by my talent and intelligence instead of how dark my skin is. I plan to be successful to make those who made this possible for me very proud.
My great-grandparents come to mind when I think about the movement. Both were born in the 1930s, and I'm truly blessed to still have them here today. They both have seen and lived through the Great Depression, World War II, and especially the Civil Rights Movement. African Americans endured adversity and negativity for over 400 years, being brutally beaten, ridiculed, and disrespected because they were different. My great-grandparents did not have the right to vote, nor were they able to speak out for change, even though they were extremely capable of doing so. I cannot imagine living through the Civil Rights Movement. With Dr. King's vision, my family has hope and has the capability to accomplish anything and everything. His legacy also teaches us to be better human beings and lend a helping hand. More doors are open for us. Instead of asking for permission, we can kick the doors down ourselves. His legacy gives us the power to be more than just an athlete. We can be entrepreneurs, lawyers, doctors, artists, politicians, and even the President of the United States. We are able to expand our horizons because we have an abundant amount of access to many resources. With change comes evolution. Evolution is the epitome of real progress. It is defined as any process of formation or growth. It is very important that we as the human race embrace evolution because it is the key to our well-being. How can one accept change when they do not make the effort to embrace the steps needed for development? Several years from now, when I decide to have children, I will make it my duty and obligation to teach them about Dr. King's legacy, as well as the movement and how much of an impact he had on the world. There is always room for improvement, and every day is a new day for new beginnings and to be better. Every day is a new day to stay positive and to succeed. In the words of my dad, there is no more back of the bus, and we are capable of going the distance. I plan to do just that and then some.
Thus, the lesson is to honor and recognize that the process of struggle is itself of great value and significance, and never be discouraged from continuing by the lack of obvious success, for the journey is indeed the goal as we journey into a next millennium. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. This is our hope for the future, and with this faith we will be able to sing in some not too distant tomorrow with a cosmic past tense. We have overcome. We have overcome. Deep in my heart, I did believe we would overcome. Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.